I pulled up the listing on a Tuesday night, probably around 11. It had 5 stars, 112 reviews, words like peaceful, remote, exactly what we needed. The photos showed a small wooden cabin tucked somewhere in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina. A covered porch, a wood-burning stove, pine trees pressing in from every side. No neighbors in the photos, no road visible, just trees and silence. I booked it for the following weekend without thinking twice. I needed to get out of the city. I think most people understand that feeling. The specific kind of exhaustion that comes not from doing too much, but from being around too many people for too long. I wanted quiet. I wanted isolation. I wanted to sit on a porch and hear nothing but wind. Looking back, I think about how much I romanticized that silence. I think about how badly I wanted it, and I wonder if that wanting made me careless about the details I should have noticed before I ever got in the car. The drive took about 4 hours. I left Friday afternoon and got there just before sunset. That narrow orange window when the light comes in sideways through the trees and makes everything look warm and safe. The GPS lost signal about 3 miles out, but the host had sent detailed written directions. Turn left at the iron gate, follow the gravel road, park by the red fence post. I followed them exactly. The cabin looked exactly like the photos. I felt good, relieved even. The lockbox code worked. The key was where it was supposed to be. I carried my bags inside, opened the windows to let the cold mountain air move through the rooms, and sat down on the couch. Exhaled for what felt like the first time in weeks. The cabin was small but well furnished. Living room, kitchen, 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom. A loft above the bedroom with a ladder leading up to it. Just a mattress up there, no railing. The host had left a handwritten welcome note on the kitchen counter with the Wi-Fi password and a list of local hiking trails. His name was Dale. The note ended with, "Make yourself at home. I'm just 20 minutes down the road if you need anything." That part didn't bother me at the time. Hosts always say that. My first night was perfect. I made dinner, read for a couple of hours, went to sleep around 10. The bed was comfortable. The woods were quiet. I slept straight through until morning with no dreams. Saturday started the same way. Coffee on the porch, a long hike on one of the trails Dale had recommended. Back by early afternoon, a little tired, genuinely relaxed. I was starting to think this trip was exactly what I'd needed. It was Saturday evening when I first noticed something off. I was sitting on the couch with a book when I looked up toward the kitchen and thought I smelled cigarette smoke. Not strongly, just a faint trace, like it had drifted in from somewhere. I checked all the windows. They were closed. I walked around the cabin looking for any sign of it. Nothing. I told myself it was coming from outside or that it was some kind of residual smell from previous guests. I sat back down, kept reading. 20 minutes later, I heard a sound from the back of the cabin. A slow, dragging sound, like something being pulled across a floor. It stopped after a few seconds. I sat very still and listened. The cabin was quiet. I told myself it was an animal outside, a raccoon maybe, or a deer moving through the brush. I kept listening. Nothing. I got up and walked through the cabin slowly. Living room, kitchen, bedroom, bathroom. Everything looked the same. I checked the back door, still locked, the deadbolt thrown. I checked the bedroom closet, empty except for my clothes and a few spare blankets on the upper shelf. I stood in the hallway for a moment, listening. Nothing moved. Nothing made a sound. I went back to the couch and kept reading, but I didn't really absorb another word I read. I was listening. The whole time, I was listening. I woke up Sunday around 3 in the morning for no reason I could identify. Just opened my eyes in the dark and was immediately completely awake. That specific kind of awake that doesn't feel like natural sleep. It feels like something pulled you out. I lay still for a long moment. The bedroom was dark. The only sound was wind in the trees. Then I heard breathing. Very faint, very close. Slow and even. Not panicked, not erratic. Just slow, deliberate breathing somewhere in the room. I didn't move. I don't know if that was smart or just paralysis. I lay in the bed with my eyes open, staring at the ceiling, and I told myself it was the house settling. Air through a vent. My own breathing, echoing off the walls in some strange way. But I kept listening, and the breathing kept coming, and it was not mine. The rhythm was different, slightly slower. Inhale, pause, exhale, inhale, pause, exhale. I turned on the light. Nothing in the room, just my bags on the floor, the window, the closet door slightly ajar. I crossed to the closet and opened it fully. Same blankets on the shelf. My clothes on the bar. Nothing else. I checked under the bed. Nothing. I turned every light in the cabin on and sat on the couch until morning. I didn't sleep. I kept telling myself that the sounds were nothing. Old wood, thin walls, wilderness settling around a building. I almost believed it. Sunday morning, I was packing my bags when I found the door. I don't know how I'd missed it. It was in the bedroom, partially behind the dresser. Not fully hidden, but not visible, unless you moved the dresser away from the wall, which I did by accident when I was trying to reach my phone charger that had fallen behind it. The dresser slid about 8 inches, and there it was. A narrow door, maybe 2 feet wide, flush with the wall, and painted the same color as the drywall. No handle on this side. Just the frame and a thin crack of darkness. I stood there looking at it for a long time. Then I got out my phone and I took a photo, and I texted it to a friend with a single message. "Does this look like something a cabin should have?" She responded, "What is that? A secret door?" I typed back, "I think so. I'm going to look." She said, "Don't." I looked anyway. I pushed the dresser further aside and worked my fingers into the crack along the edge of the door. It swung inward. No squeak. The hinges were new, recently oiled or recently installed. I shone my phone's flashlight inside. It was a narrow room. Not quite a closet. More like a corridor that ran along the back of the bedroom wall. Maybe 18 inches wide and stretching in both directions into darkness. There was a folding chair inside, an old camping lantern, and on the wall, facing the bedroom, a series of small holes drilled at eye level, spaced about 8 inches apart. Peepholes. Positioned exactly to see the bed. I didn't run, I don't know why. I think I went into some kind of mechanical mode. I backed out of the hidden room. I pushed the dresser back. I finished packing my bag. I walked to my car, put my bag in the trunk, and got in the driver's seat. Then I sat there for a full minute before my hands started shaking badly enough that I couldn't have started the engine if I'd tried. I called the Airbnb support line. I told them what I'd found. They told me to document everything and that they'd be in touch. They were very calm about it, which somehow made it worse. I drove home that afternoon. 3 hours and 40 minutes of highway, watching my rearview mirror every few minutes, unable to fully explain what I was watching for. I filed a report. I sent the photos. Airbnb eventually suspended Dale's listing. I never got a direct explanation of what the room was for, or how long it had been there, or whether Dale had been in it at any point during my stay. That's what I can't stop thinking about. Not the room itself, not the peepholes. The breathing I heard at 3 in the morning. Whether that was a sound I was imagining, stress, exhaustion, a strange house making strange sounds, or whether there was someone in that corridor on the other side of the wall while I slept. 3 feet away, watching through those holes in the dark. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. And I've accepted that I'm probably never going to. What I do know is this. Those hinges were new. Someone had oiled them recently, or recently put them in. The chair was positioned precisely. The holes were drilled at exactly the right height for someone sitting down to see over the bed. That was not an accident. That was not something left over from a previous owner who'd since forgotten about it. Somebody built that room on purpose, and I think we all know what it was built for. Before you book your next place, anywhere, any app, just spend 10 minutes walking every room. Open every closet. Move the furniture away from the walls. Check behind everything. Because I didn't. And I think about that every single night.